At first glance, this looks like an Abrams tank carrying something far too large for it. But that huge structure on top is actually a bridge. This is the M1074 Joint Assault Bridge, and its entire job is to keep heavy armored vehicles moving when the terrain suddenly says stop. A destroyed crossing, a deep trench, a stream, or an anti-vehicle obstacle can stop an armored formation even if every tank is still running. Instead of waiting for a conventional bridge to be built, combat engineers can bring this vehicle forward and create a crossing right where it is needed. The reason it looks so much like an Abrams is because underneath the bridge launcher, that is essentially what it is based on. The M1074 uses an M1A1 Abrams hull, combined with the heavy suspension used on the M1A2. That gives the bridge layer the mobility to keep up with armored units. On top sits the Heavy Assault Scissor Bridge. When it is being transported, the bridge is folded back onto itself, which makes an 18.3-meter bridge compact enough to ride on the vehicle. Once the M1074 reaches the obstacle, the hydraulic launching system takes over. Watch what happens next. The folded bridge is raised and moved forward by the launcher. Then the two bridge sections open around the center hinge like a giant pair of scissors. Instead of soldiers assembling separate pieces across the gap, the vehicle carries the complete structure with it. As the bridge opens, the far end reaches toward the opposite side of the obstacle. The launcher then lowers the structure into its final position. Once the bridge is seated, the M1074 can disconnect from it and move away, leaving a complete crossing behind for the vehicles following it. And this happens much faster than its size would suggest. Leonardo DRS lists a normal bridge launch time of about 3 to 5 minutes. That matters because the bridge layer is designed for assault operations, where keeping an armored formation moving can be just as important as the firepower of the vehicles themselves. The bridge itself is rated at military load class 115 in normal operation. That is why footage of these systems shows extremely heavy vehicles using the crossing, including Abrams tanks and Bradley fighting vehicles. This is not a lightweight temporary footbridge. It is built specifically for heavy armored traffic. The M1074 is also not limited to crossing water. The Army describes the Joint Assault Bridge as a system for both wet and dry gaps. That means the same basic idea can be used against streams, trenches, damaged crossings, and other obstacles that would otherwise interrupt the movement of an armored force. There is another reason the Abrams-based chassis matters. A bridge layer that cannot keep up with the tanks it supports becomes a bottleneck itself. The Joint Assault Bridge was designed to give combat engineers mobility comparable to the armored force around it, while the hydraulic launcher handles the heavy work of placing the bridge. But laying the bridge is only half of the system's job. Once the force is crossed and the bridge is needed somewhere else, the M1074 can return, reconnect to the bridge, fold it back onto the vehicle, and carry it away again. The manufacturer lists normal retrieval at roughly 6 to 10 minutes. That means this 18.3-meter bridge is not simply dropped and abandoned after one crossing. It is a reusable piece of mobile infrastructure that travels with the armored force, allowing engineers to create a crossing, recover it, and then use the same bridge again somewhere farther ahead. So although it may look like a tank with an enormous piece of metal strapped to the top, the M1074 is really a very specialized engineering machine. It trades the Abrams turret and gun for something an armored column sometimes needs even more, a way to keep moving when there is suddenly no road left in front of it.